What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What is up? How are y'all doing today, guys? Today is the day that we will be talking about the Acolyte episode 4. I am your host, Emanuel Noisette. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming through today. Just so you know, we will be going through the entire episode. We will be going, and again, we will be talking about the spoilers. So if you have not watched the show, I don't know why you're here. We're going to talk about the show and spoil it. If you don't care about spoilers, or if you've already watched, then you're in the right place. Then what's up? Good to see you. Thank you for hanging out. But this would also be a good time if you haven't watched, go ahead, watch the episode and just catch it on the replay. It's all good because shout out to the replay gang. All right, we got that out the way. Let's see. Before we get started, let's give a couple quick shout outs to some people. Let's see. Paulette, good to see you. Thank you so much for hanging out. Johnny Washington, my man, what's going on? Yes, happy Juneteenth to everybody. Listen, it's the freedom for me. You already know what it is. I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves and having this nice day off. I hope you got the day off. You should get the day off. Listen, if you look like me and you ain't got the day off, something's wrong. I'm just saying it defeats the purpose of the entire holiday. That's all I'm saying. But shout out to you. What's going on, Zia? How you doing? And yes, I completely agree with that sentiment. I will get into that a little later. Kerf, what is up? Good to see you. Talented one, how you doing? My man Lou is back. Good to see you. Haitian Blue, Sock Passe, good to see you. Mr. Mitchell, what's up? Kid Mello, how you doing? Treese, thank you for hanging out today. Tasha, good to see you. My man Didier's back. What is up? Who else did I see here? My man Derek is here. How you doing? EB, good to see you. Corey, what is up? Eric, how you doing? CJ, I see you. Let's see. Todd, good to see you. Thanks so much. Dwight, what is up? Theo, what's going on? Sean is back. Good to see you. Kristen, thank you so much for being here. Sunspot, shout out to you and shout out to everyone that has made it out or that will be coming in. Appreciate y'all for taking the time. Let's see. We got our first comment. Christy, thank you so much. What's up, E-Man and E-Fam and Replay Gang? What's up to you as well, Christy? Thank you so much for hanging out. I do appreciate it. All right. So before we get going, initial impressions with this episode, I'll just say that it was better than the last one. It was better than the last one, but I don't know if that's really saying very much. We got at least something at the end to try and like help generate a little bit of buzz, a little bit of something, but you know, I don't know. Maybe as I go through this, we'll get a little bit more. Maybe you guys have some deeper insight that I don't know, but this show has some work to do. Let's just put it that this show still has some work to do. But you know what? Let's go through the episode. Let's talk about it, and then we'll see how we come out at the end. But let's start off. We kick it off right there on Kofar. This is the planet where we know that the Master Jedi Kalnaka is. We see Kalnaka is in there. He's in his, I guess, hut or ship or whatever. But what's interesting here are all the markings that are in the ship or in the house. You see these markings. It looks like all the yin and yang and the circular patterns. And what's striking about this, and this is probably a big clue, is that these are the same markings that we saw on the witches and their foreheads. So May, that marking that we saw on her forehead, this is pretty much the same thing. So what is going on with Kalnaka that he is also making these very same markings all throughout his house? Could this be an expression of guilt? Could Kalnaka actually be, in league with the witches in some way, somehow? Not really sure. But if you guys have like any ideas, please feel free to let me know why you think that Kalnaka's got all these yin yang symbols and things that the witches also had. Why is that all prominent here? We go back to Coruscant and we see that the Padawans are training. Osha comes in and says goodbye to Jecki and thanks her for helping her find her sister May. And she's like, yeah, it's all good. No big deal. Back on Kofar, we see that Kamir and May land on the planet and they're here to find Kelnaka. And you know, Kamir said something kind of interesting when he told May that he risked his life to help her. He reminded her that she still needs to kill the Wookiee because she made a deal with the Master. So, you know, there are a lot of theories going around about what's the deal with Kamir and, like, you know, is he really the Master or not? I'll give a couple ideas about that a little bit later, but I do want to just kind of point out that this seems to be a reoccurring thing with Kamir, and we do get a little bit, I guess, maybe more insight about him in this episode compared to the last ones. But his dynamic with May is something I think we should pay some attention to. But he does keep on reminding her, like, yo, you made a deal with the Master. Don't back out on that deal. Like, don't do it. Okay. Now we go back on Coruscant and the Jedi. They're analyzing what they know about May. And one of the things they talk about is how that she is fast, but she's weak. They acknowledge how she uses her emotions to guide her actions, which we know is a tall tale sign of how the Sith or the dark side users operate. This was always something that was kind of like the dark side users' downfall. They would use their anger or their, you know, hatred to motivate their movements or to initiate a lot of their actions. But what we also find out when the Jedi fight them is kind of like, well, when you get, you know, angry and stuff, this is how you make mistakes. This is one of the main reasons why Obi-Wan was always able to best Anakin Skywalker, because he would always let his emotions cloud his judgment or just, you know, impair him in some way. So the fact that we get this confirmation that May also uses her emotions in her fighting and her tactics just gives more indication that she's obviously using what we will later find out to be more of the dark side. They talk about the Jedi Masters that have been killed so far. And let's see, now the belief that is now arisen within this little group of Jedis is that a former Jedi must have trained May, you know. And if you guys recall, this is Jedi. I think he's a master at this point. I don't think he's a master. He might be a knight, but it's Ki-Adi Mundi. He believes that they need to go tell the High Council, right? But Vernestra immediately shuts that down because she's kind of afraid of the whole idea of a scandal coming about. And this just shows us yet another reason why the Sith were able to kind of sneak their existence in, because a lot of people weren't communicating effectively. And, you know, we see stuff like this happen so many different times in different TV shows, movies, whatever. Like, hey, there's danger over there. You know what? We shouldn't tell anybody. Let's just keep it under wraps. But let me just address this also, because I saw so many people were like just up in arms about this Ki-Adi Mundi situation, because we saw him in the prequels. He was like, I don't know, X amount of years old or whatever. And you see a whole lot of Star Wars fans online talking about, oh my gosh, he was the one that said the big pivotal line that we haven't seen Sith in like over a millennia. So he was on the High Council by the time we get to the prequels. But some people are upset because according to a Star Wars fan Wookiee site or Wikipedia site, he was born in 93 BBC or whatever, right? But the problem with this is that was according to the Legends lore. In other words, that was according to the extended universe that's no longer canon. So ever since Disney bought Lucasfilm, they were able to pick and choose and even retcon what is canon and what is not canon. So it's funny to me that people are trying to leech onto this as if it's like a major crazy thing that Disney's doing. They changed the age of an alien that, according to canon, we don't really know very much information about. So I really don't know if I'm just saying it feels like nitpicking. That's all. It feels like people are nitpicking. It feels like people are reaching to find a reason just to hate on this. Because I'm not saying that you shouldn't have opinions about the show. I'm just saying this is a very superficial issue. People are complaining about the age of a fictional alien that's not even canon. It's not even canon. Now I'm here for calling out plot twists, or I'm sorry, I'm here for calling out plot holes all day. I'm here for it. It's not a plot hole if it's not officially canon. That's not the same thing. I just need y'all to calm down with that. Pick a better fight. That's all. There's a lot of fights. There's a lot of critiques you can have. Just pick a better one. The age of a fictional alien in a non-canon story, that's y'all fight? That's the hill y'all want to die on? Yikes. Yikes. Oh my goodness, man. I just want the energy to go somewhere positive. That's all. Listen, call out Disney whenever you want. Call out Lucasfilm whenever you want. But let's do it with something that actually matters. Please? Anyway. So I don't know, and I don't care how old this alien is, but he is part of the reason why the Jedi High Council potentially does not know about this situation. But something that is important to point out, remember that during this time, the Sith do not exist. We do not have, quote unquote, a dark side order that the Jedi at this moment know about. And it's one of the reasons why they quickly dismiss this as being just a splinter order. They're like, you know what? May, she clearly must have been trained by some other rogue Jedi, and these must be a splinter order of the Jedi. So they're not even considering that the Sith are a thing. They are considering that, you know what? It's got to be some backdoor bootleg Jedi order. That must be what this is. So again, this does kind of follow the notion of how arrogant, maybe how hubris, and maybe how ignorant the Jedi are, because in their mind, they're like, yo, ain't no way the Sith are back. There's no way. Now, I do believe that this show still has some legwork to do to make sure that we connect what we just learned now about how they think it's just a splinter, order versus what we know in the prequel. So there's still 100 years that this show still kind of sort of has to explain why didn't the Jedi ever believe that the Sith were a real threat? Did somebody else suppress the information? Did this actually exist? And maybe there was a deeper cover up. Keep in mind, Yoda is still around. I want to say Yoda's around like 700 years old at this point, and he's probably still on the High Council. Did Yoda know? Did Yoda just hide the information? I don't know, but I do believe that that's something that this show eventually will, they'll have to address that in some way, shape, or form. Anyway, Venestra, she does confront Soul about the possibility of May still being alive, but Soul he was real adamant that he just didn't know that she survived. And according to him, he was like, yo, nobody could fall and survive that. Now, bless Soul's heart. Okay. Now we all know, and I know this is early, but Soul still thinks that people in Star Wars falling from a great height can't survive. Now we know better. Okay. We know that you could fall and it don't mean nothing in Star Wars, but this is the old times. I guess they not experience the high falls, but this is one of the reasons why he just did not believe that May actually survived at that time. Hold on. I got to give some love real quick. We have some love from Low Key. Thank you so much for the $10 cash app. I'm gonna send some love right back. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for keeping this channel ad free. Always appreciate your contributions. Thank you so much. All right, let's move on. So we've got Kamir he and May are making their oh wait, before we go on, I want to go back first, because while Saul had like no idea about the whole people falling thing, he does insist that he wants to bring in May, right? But Venestra senses that the master's plan is something that will bring a sort of shift, or it might tip the scales of the force in maybe some way. So once again, this is kind of our little hint that clearly the dark side is coming, but they can't recognize it. They don't even understand what that means. For them to even talk about a shift in the force, talking about the dark side just doesn't resonate for them. Now we do go back to Kamir and May, and Kamir continues to ask her like how she's gonna kill a Jedi without a weapon, and he keeps reminding her again that her master wants her to like kill without a weapon, and she cuts him off, and she's like, yo, what kind of deal did you make with the master? Like what's up with you? And he says that like, yo, the master collects people, and that's how he owes the master. So apparently Kamir has some sort of debt to the master. And May asks him about what her sister was like. And I think that this is where we see that May clearly doesn't have, or she does have like an emotional attachment to her sister. And you can see she's trying to like fish for information at this point, because she does care about her sister. Keep in mind, she thought her sister was dead. But now she found out, obviously, that isn't the case. We go back to the Jedis, and Saul asks Osha to come and find May, but not officially as a Jedi. And if you noticed, just for a second in this moment, Osha got kind of excited of the idea of being invited back to be a Jedi. That actually kind of enticed her just a little bit. Now, keep in mind, previously, Osha said that she left the order like 6 years ago or something like that. But now I'm wondering if she was asked to leave the order, because it would appear as though she still wants to be a Jedi. So maybe this is something else we're going to have to find out later on, what really happened when she parted ways with the Jedi. Was this a mutual pairing? Was she kind of nicely kicked out? I think the last time was that with Ahsoka that might have happened also. But either way, it does seem as though that desire to be a Jedi has not left her per se. So I think that is kind of a bit of a hint for her character. So we move on. We see the Jedi. They move on. They're going into space, and they're about to head over to Kafar. And Yord, the second they land, Yord is already asking Osha to hand over her blaster, because clearly he just does not trust her. Okay, he like no matter what they've already gone through, he still doesn't fully trust her at all. And as they're going through, they do say that they're gonna have a that gopher looking alien, Basil or whatnot. Where's he at? Yeah, Basil. They're gonna use Basil to track May. To track Kelnaka. They're gonna use this little gopher thing, alien, to track Kelnaka. Now, while they're walking, Osha does ask Yord to do what needs to be done when they confront May. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that Osha doesn't feel like she has the guts, to put her sister down if need be. So, she's basically asking Yord, like, yo, if things get tough, I'm going to need you to pull that trigger, do what you got to do. Anyway, we see Kamir and May make their way deeper into the forest, and the Jedi are doing the same thing. We see Osha touching one of those bugs on the tree. She doesn't know it's a bug. And then they start to realize that these creatures might actually be a bit of a problem. We see here that one of the creatures starts to attack her. Soul busts out his lightsaber, and he quickly takes care of it. Let's see. Then we have May. She's clearly bothered here by the fact that she could sense that that creature that Saul just killed, she knows that she disturbed that creature, and that's what led it to its death. And this could be a callback to the last episode where we saw a young version of Osha who was probably also sensing and connecting, you know, with that butterfly looking alien or whatever. And it just, I think this just shows us once again that Osha does have some sort of appreciation for life. Now, when she's talking to Jecki, Jecki tells her that it's an honor to see people transform into the Force. In other words, it's an honor to see people die. So Jecki has this perception, probably taught by the Jedi, that death is not the end. When people die, they transform and fuse and become one with the Force. And Osha says that she can't accept death like a true Jedi, and how, you know, for her, she felt like death was unfair. She also felt a resentment for her sister. And, Jecki kind of hits her with that Jedi logic, like, yo, we're not defined by what we've lost, but rather what we survive. So again, this is just how the Jedi interpret life and death. And if anything, the way Jecki's logic is presented, it's really to kind of show and demonstrate just how much the Jedi do not cling to attachments. They're like, yo, I'm not going to be stuck grieving this person, because that grief can turn into hatred or bitterness or whatever. And that's how you fall to the dark side. So Jecki is just really reflecting her Jedi training and logic at that point. Let's see. I got a little bit of love I got to give back to, let's see. Johnny, thank you so much, brother, for the $10 Cash App. I really appreciate that. Sending some love right back to you. Appreciate you. I had somebody else here. Let's see. I don't want to mispronounce the name. Is it Haraben? I think it's Haraben. Thank you so much for the $5 Venmo. Says here, thanks for keeping it real and unbiased. You already know that's the only way I could do things. So thank you so much for that. I do appreciate you. All right, what else do we do? So, okay, so now we go into May and Kamir. May basically needs a break. They've been walking through this forest for a while. She realizes that this test that the master gave her is pretty much impossible. To kill a Jedi without a weapon, it's just ridiculous. And Kamir says that it's not impossible, and he even admits that he cares about her, and he goes off to find her some more water. Now, while they're in the forest, you can hear May screaming for help, and Kamir rushes to her aid to see what's going on with her. And as we saw, Kamir ends up finding himself falling for a trap. And May says that she's already going to renege on her deal with the master, mainly because she knows that her sister is alive. And the mere fact that her sister is alive, that changes everything for her. And of course, this is interesting because recall earlier, May believed that Osha was dead. This was probably her main motivation for working with the master in the first place. With this revelation that Osha is alive, May probably no longer has the same hatred in her heart as she did before. Now, maybe the master lied to her about Osha. Maybe the master made some sort of deal with her, some sort of promise to her in exchange for May. And we don't really know exactly what that deal is, but it sounds as though, at least from what Kamir said earlier, that the master collects people, and I'm assuming there's some sort of debt that is also made or that's incurred over time. So May decides to that she is going to surrender to Kelnaka, and she's going to turn herself into the Jedi. And Kamir basically tells her, like, yo, you do that, the master is going to kill you, But she doubts that the master is going to be able to make it through this forest without a guide. We go back to the Jedi, and we see that Saul senses something, and immediately he dismisses it. But if you look closely, on his face, at least to me, it looked like he sensed something that he recognized, almost like it was a blast from the past. Matter of fact, he even tells Osha that both of them are going to have to face their past. He said that when they got and now of course he could be talking about May in terms of facing May, but I'm wondering if he could be feeling or sensing the master. I'm wondering if he has some sort of recognition or reflection of maybe the master, because we know the master is around. Maybe that's the presence that he actually sensed, and that's the blast from the past that he's referring to. It's a little ambiguous, but I'm wondering if that's what he meant. But there was something else here that I don't know if y'all caught this, but like Saul ended up telling Osha that while they both will face their past, he said that when they get back to the ship, when everything is all done, he will explain everything. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about y'all, but anytime any character, I don't care if it's a movie, I don't care if it's a TV show, when a character that knows the right answers, when they know a little too much, and they sit here and tell you, you know what, I'm not going to tell you what you need to know right here. I'm not going to tell you what will happen right now. I'll tell you later. You know good and well that person finna die. They not going to make it. Something is going to happen because you got all the information. But now you sitting there talking about, oh, I'll tell you later. And to make things even worse, what did he say? I promise you. Y'all think Saul gonna make it? I don't know. No, I don't think. Listen, I've seen Game of Thrones. I remember when Ned Stark told Jon Snow, "Oh yeah, about your mama and daddy. I'll tell you all about your mama." Yeah, Listen, I'm just saying, I don't think Saul gonna make it. It don't look good for him because my man, he knows too much, and he's promising too much. He's not gonna make it, but he's not gonna make it. I just don't see it happening. Let's see. Let's grab these comments real quick. Didier, what you got? The only way this gets covered up is this ends with everyone dead. I think that is very possible. Like, I think Vanestra gonna die. I feel like Saul gonna die. I feel like May and Osha, if they survive, they're probably gonna go off somewhere else and never tell a soul. But one way or another, I do not see the Jedi Council finding out about this, because this master, whoever this master is, they're gonna mess everything up. And I'm wondering, and I'll just throw this out there, I'm wondering if this master is also someone that will infiltrate the Jedi the same way Palpatine infiltrated the Jedi, the Senate and stuff like that. So I think that would be an interesting twist if they go that route. And maybe maybe this master, whoever this person is, if they can infiltrate the Jedi, that would be a better explanation as to why all this information just couldn't make it all the way to the top. So we'll see. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. Didier, what you got? Fun fact: killing a Jedi without a weapon is part of a Sith training and how they get their lightsaber. Yes. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that was Vader. That was a mission that Vader had to do when Vader first got his machine and everything. Like when he got his first machine body, that was his task. His task was to kill a Jedi and then take their crystal, their lightsaber crystal, and bleed it to make it go red. So I do believe that it's definitely a Sith order in that case. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. All right, so what's up? We established Soul finna die. Okay, we got that. Let's see. May ends up running into Basil, and Basil immediately starts snitching, and you see Basil screaming out and giving up the location. May does end up going into into the into Calcutta's house, and we find out that the Jedi Master is actually dead. And this, of course, spooks May like no other, because this gives the realization that the Master did find their way throughout this forest, and they were strong enough, obviously, to kill this Jedi with what looks like a lightsaber attack. And this is where we start to see the Jedi. They also come up to the house. They're calling out May. They know May is in there hiding. But then Saul starts to get that feeling. He looks back, and boom, we see our first look at the Master coming at them. The Master comes in, and let me just say, shout out to this mask. This mask is probably one of the best things that Star Wars has done for someone in a long time, especially for a dark side user. It definitely is giving that alien vibe to it. I like the way that it's it looks like it was fused and almost giving those Kylo Ren type of vibes to it. But I do like that design. I thought it was pretty cool. And Osha comes right face to face with the Master. And I think it's very telling right here that the Master just throws her out the way. Now, keep in mind, the Master could have taken Osha out immediately, but the Master did not do that. The Master clearly knows that this is not May, that this is Osha. So I think this gives us a clue that the Master knows or has some sort of connection with Osha as well. So, yep, made it light work. Get out my way, get out my face. And all them Jedi that tried to attack the Master, boom, get out of here. Not dealing with you. And that was it for the episode. So, I think that this was where this is probably the best tidbit that we can be left with that can generate a little bit more interest as what's going to happen in the next episode. One Sith versus how many other Jedi was it? I think it was about like 6, 7 of them. No, let's see. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 Jedi? 5 Jedi and a Padawan. Listen, if this one Master can take all them out, you have my attention. Okay, you have my attention. This one scene at the very end is the one thing that saved this episode for me from being just very boring. This was it. I will say that, I have juggled my thoughts about, and I told y'all one of the main things that's going to keep you questioning whether or not you're interested in this series is you want to know or find out what is the origin of the girls, of their creation. We still don't know what that is yet. And you want to know what terrible deed did the Jedi do in the past. And of course, now the ending of this episode gives us the bigger question of who's the Master? We want to know who's the Master. Now, again, if you don't care about any of those questions, this show is not for you. There's nothing else that I think this show can really promise you that is going to be something to keep you interested at this point. But I will say anticipation is high. It's a little higher. I won't say high, but it's higher because I do want to see what happens in the 5th episode. Now, I will also say, as I said before, this show has a lot of legwork to do. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this only got 8 episodes. This feels like Secret Invasion. When we was covering Secret Invasion, and yeah, there was some cool little things here and there happening or whatever, but the closer we started getting to the end, I was like, is there going to be a big enough payoff? We 4 episodes in. You already had a lackluster episode 3. 4 seems a little bit better. 5 might have, at least from what it's teasing, probably one of the best lightsaber scenes that we might get. But even after that, we still gonna have 3 more episodes. So I'm wondering, can you stick the landing? Because I told y'all it's two types of people out there when it comes to TV shows. It's destination people and it's journey people. Some people like the journey even if the destination sucks. Some other people, like myself, I will deal with a sucky journey if the end justifies it, if the destination is great. Right now, this journey is not that great for me. I'm hoping that the end will justify what we're going through. Now, again, I feel like with every single episode, it raises the pressure and it raises the expectation for this show to deliver. I mean, you're going to have to give us, I would say, something like Christopher Nolan Memento type of reveal that would justify and force us to reevaluate all the earlier episodes. Okay, so again, you're gonna have to show us maybe something like from, you know how like the Sixth Sense, when we saw the Sixth Sense and we was like, yo, that's who he was all that time. Okay, now if I go back and rewatch the episodes, I can watch it in a completely different way, or I can have a new appreciation for it. Maybe we'll get that. Maybe, but I don't know. And I would also say this might be a show that Disney messed up on, Lucasfilm. I feel like they messed up in terms of making this weekly, because giving us 20, 30 minutes and each episode doesn't really feel meaty enough. This ain't it. Listen, the last time we did something better was probably Mandalorian. Mandalorian gave us, 30 to maybe 40 minutes per episode. And, every week we had enough to think about, to marinate on. We had some action scenes. We had cool little cameos, and it was straight. It was good. This, I mean, I feel like you could shave 15 minutes off and it would just be like, all right, like that was it. So I don't know. Anyway, guys, this is the point in time where I need you guys to let me know, what was your rating for episode 4 of The Acolyte? Please let me know on a scale from 0 to 10. What did you think about it? Meantime, I'll let you guys know. Like I said, I was not the biggest fan of this episode, but it definitely was better than the last episode. It's not saying much at all. But I will say that the very end saved it, because if you didn't end it with that, like if they had ended it with the Wookiee death, I'd have been like, all right, whatever. Like, whatever. I don't care. Like, oh, the master, whatever. But the fact that they did kind of tease, the little dark side user and I was like, okay. But here's the other problem. The other problem is the fact that this is what you teased in the trailers. You was telling us that this matchup was going to happen in the trailers already. So I'm sitting here like, this is why I tuned in the first place. So you going to double tease me with the same thing? Like what? This is why we came. This I don't know. I would have needed to see just a little bit more. So, thanks for the setup. I think we got a little something for character development, but not very much. I don't know if we could trust anything Kamir says. And by the way, I still believe that the master is a woman. I think that like everybody in this show keeps talking about the master is a he. How y'all keep saying he's a he and y'all don't know? I think that is an obvious misdirect. Maybe it's the mother witch, maybe it's her, maybe it's somebody else. I don't know. But I do believe that the master is actually a female, just from a writing standpoint. It feels like they're trying to send us off. Yeah, for the rating, I'm probably gonna give this 6.5 out of 10. Thank goodness for that little tease at the end, because otherwise this might have been like a 5. Like, what are we doing? This felt like a filler episode, just like the last episode felt like a filler episode. I need something to push the story forward. I need something significant. I need something where I can be like, yo, what does this mean? Where is this going to go? I'm not getting that feeling right now. I'm kind of like, okay, I still want to know who's the master. I don't care about the story at this point because you're not giving me enough to care about the story. You're giving me enough at this point to just say, wonder who's the master. That's all I need. That's all I'm asking. That's all this episode is begging from me. Anyway, let's see what the people feel, where y'all at with it. We got a 5, 7, 2, 6, 7, 5, 5.5, 7, 4, 5, 5, 7, 5, 6.5, 6.5, 6, 7, 5, 7, 6.5, 7, 6, 7, 4, 6, 5.5, 4, 6, 6.5, 8 out of 10. All right, 7, 6, 4, 6, 5, 7.3. Okay, 6, 5. Okay, listen. So I think overall we're kind of like, listen, that's okay. And I want to also point this out too. Just because this is how we feel about certain episodes right now, I think it is very possible that the destination could change all of this, right? Again, it's a heavy load. It's a very tall task for this show to accomplish, but it's possible. It is possible that maybe we come back and be like, hey, you know what? This was genius. Yo, what they did in this episode, I didn't even know how dope it was. It's possible. All I'm saying is I haven't seen from Lucasfilm or from Marvel for that matter, I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen them give us something where halfway through the show, it blows us away. I have definitely seen, at least from Lucasfilm, some good stuff that started good and it just ended good. Mandalorian. I've seen some things that started good and couldn't stick the landing. Boba Fett. I've seen some things that started kind of meh and still ended kind of meh. Obi-Wan. This right now is starting kind of meh, but I don't know. It's up to, we'll have to just see where it ends up. So anyway, guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I think we are all caught up. Yes. And I appreciate you guys for chiming in. Again, if you have any thoughts, theories, please feel free to go ahead and leave them in the comments. I do appreciate it. But yeah, guys, are y'all excited for the next episode? That is something I am kind of curious about. Do you like where are you at with this series? What are you hoping for with the next 4 episodes? Whatever you're thinking. If you got any other theories, ideas, or just however you feel free to let me know what you think in the comments down below. We will see what happens. Hold on, let's see. Dwight, what you got? Do I need to watch Russian Doll to understand Headland? I don't know. I haven't watched Russian Doll, so maybe if somebody else has watched Russian Doll, maybe the showrunner has some sort of writing style that maybe we're not familiar with. I don't know. But that's a great question. I'm not going to watch Russian Doll right now, but that could be a very good hint at maybe her writing style is different and we're just not used to it. I don't know, maybe. But anyway, we'll see. I do think that episode 5 is going to be a make or break episode in terms of how people are going to approach the rest of the season. We'll see. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Please enjoy your holiday day off. We will be back on Friday to talk about the news from the week. And then, of course, remember on Mondays, we will be doing House of the Dragon, where we will talk about things. And I'll just say there are things to talk about. There are things to talk about with House of the Dragon. So make sure you tune in for that. Yeah, okay, I think that's it. Make sure you enjoy yourself. on this day off. Get some grilling, save me a rib or two. Wash your hands, wash your butts, and everything in between. Until next time, see you guys later. Happy Juneteenth.